about mental health, particularly body dysmorphia, while also making protein packed pumpkin cake. So I have no idea if this is going to taste good. However, I feel like discussing such a heavy topic, if I do it like this, it will feel less invasive and less confrontational for you. At the end of the day, it feels better for me. So that's what we're going to do. Trigger warning, this is going to be a heavier discussion about some of the things that I've struggled through in my life, and just recently post bodybuilding competition. And so if you or anybody that you know is struggling with mental health, with disordered eating, with body image dysmorphia, please reach out to a a mental health care professional. I cannot stress the importance of that, even though I was unable to say it a second ago. It has been life-changing for me to feel seen, received, heard, and understood by somebody. And looking at it from a perspective of now, I thought that I had tried everything before when I was struggling and at my worst and at my lowest. And that felt very hopeless for me. And looking at it now, I realized that that's all I had known at that time. So I had tried everything that I knew. However, what I had known was limited. And so again, I cannot stress or suggest enough to reach out for help if you are struggling. Okay, let's get started with this. So we need 100 grams of pumpkin, 1 egg, 50 grams of maple syrup, 30 mils of coconut oil, 100 mils of milk. Ugh. Good enough. You get it. 1 teaspoon baking powder, 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, half mixed spices. I don't know what that means, and so I just grabbed nutmeg and cloves, 210 grams of oats, and 50 grams of vanilla whey powder. And then we do need also cream cheese. So, fun stuff. What do we need to grab first? In a bowl, mix all the dry ingredients and set aside. Okay, sick. So, first things first. I do want to just say how cool it is to be on this side of things. I'm still working through a lot, and I want to make sure that that's really clear. Like I'm not 100% healed, and I'm not entirely sure I ever will be, and I've relieved myself of the pressure of being that way. I would love to be, and I don't want to discredit all the work that I've done. I should probably get a scale as well. Food scales, so you know how much you're actually putting in. Okay. I don't want to like tell myself that I can't get there. I also don't want to expect to get there too quickly or in a time frame and then be disappointed, because that's just, healing is not linear and it's messy and chaotic. And so for me to just expect that of myself, I feel it would be so unfair. And if I look at myself as I would look at like a best friend, I would never tell my friend like hurry up and feel better, you know, or like yeah, you'll be fine in a year from now, if I didn't know that for sure, because I would never want them to feel as though they failed. So why would I want myself to feel that way? And the answer is I wouldn't. However, we are our biggest obstacle, and I am definitely one of my biggest obstacles in life. 50 grams of protein powder. It's a lot. I guess I'm making a loaf, so. So if you don't follow me, because I've talked a lot about this on my social media, just a quick backstory about me before I talk about post bodybuilding. Actually, before I talk about the bodybuilding comp. Oh my gosh! Please don't melt. Okay, I have the stove on. That was a bad choice. Before I talk about the bodybuilding competition and post bodybuilding competition and what that was like. So past history for me throughout my entire, oh my gosh, I can't even remember a time that I didn't struggle with the way that I looked. And if I'm being very honest, I cannot remember a time where my relationship with food was not toxic. And so I can see that now. Before I was a little bit more resistant to it because I just didn't want to believe that about myself. I saw other people struggling with it, and I'm like, no, I'm fine. And I'd be fine when I was around people, or I'd pretend to be fine when I was around people, and then when I was alone, that's when the voices got really loud in my head, like, oh, you shouldn't have eaten that, or oh, you know what, you worked really hard today, so you should just binge eat, or and I had all of these like weird ways of navigating and um, participating with food. And then I had some pretty intense trauma happen to me more than once, and I decided in that time that I did not deserve food. So it was a very strange situation where it went from, I had been raised in a home, and I want to just say really clearly here, I do not blame anybody for what I went through, okay? It's a cycle in my family that is coming to an end, and we are all healing, and I am very proud of that fact. However, I was raised in a home where people were insecure with food and with their body and with their body image and etc. And so where health was involved, it was like either super intensely hyper healthy, where nothing else was allowed in the, like no food or experience was allowed in the house, or it was the complete opposite, where it's just like we're eating and it makes us feel better. And so it was never we're eating because it's intuitive, we're eating for other reasons. And then it morphed into a self-abuse, because I didn't believe that I should be on this planet. To be blunt, I just stopped believing that about myself after these things happened to me because I didn't know how to deal with them at the time. And that's why I said at the starting of this video, like, I thought that I had tried everything, and I had tried everything that I knew and that was available to me. However, that was not everything that was available in the world. And so again, I cannot stress enough going and getting help. Like I wish that I had gone sooner. I was so ashamed of it though, and I saw it as that meant me admitting something was wrong with me, when in reality, I mean, something was. So, you know what, whatever. It is what it is. And then finally, I would say, gosh, I had eating disorders all the way up until I was 23, 24. And I had been working with a counselor and then a psychotherapist, and then a cognitive behavioral therapist for a few years since I was like 19, and we started to dive into food a little bit, into my relationship with food a little bit, and that's when I started to feel safe approaching my healing journey when it came to food. And I think I did a pretty good job. I mean, it took me quite a long time. I did end up having a bit of a pendulum swing. So I went from like just abusive eating with food, whether it be binging and purging, anorexia, and I just would go in waves constantly, to only eating healthy foods and being like vigilant about it. Like nothing else will enter my body. This is me healing. This is what it looks like. And that's not healed either. That's just the other side of it. And any extreme, that's what I'll say here right now, any extreme tells you a story. Okay, so if you are at an extreme right now, you need to ask yourself what it is that you're actually trying to achieve. Because life is not rigid, and the extreme is trying to talk to you. So I went extreme, and I was like, no, only healthy things. And Um, I started to heal, and then I started to be okay because I took my fitness a bit more seriously, and I realized that it was okay to have a bit of fun with food, and that I was okay, like I was safe doing it, without hating myself all the time. Like there was still times when afterwards I would just be like, why did you do that? Like maybe we should deal with it. That's what I'll say when I say these things. Maybe we should deal with it. And I would fight the urge to do so, and I would battle my anxiety for a day or two. But for the most part, I felt pretty okay. And so I was like, okay, I gained a bit of weight, which was not a bad thing, honestly. Like I look back on it and I'm like, I needed that. I needed to just feel strong and powerful in my body. I needed to feel like food didn't control me anymore. And that was a really, really powerful time. And that was around the time when I started having a girlfriend, like mentioned, we should do a bodybuilding competition. I was so scared to do one because I'm like, no, 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 I don't think you understand. Like, I'm just starting to be okay with this eating thing and this body dysmorphia thing that I've been dealing with my whole life. I don't think I should do it. I don't think I'm strong enough to do it. Okay, so now fast forward. I did a bodybuilding competition this year. I actually competed on June 24th, and I placed third in the Diva Fitness category. So fitness is more of an athletic look. It's not quite bikini, where it's not so lean, like you need to have muscle. I would say, yeah, athletic look is probably the easiest way of putting it so that everybody can understand what that means. And if you compete in fitness, then you know, you already know what it means. I don't have to explain it to you. So yeah, I actually ended up competing and winning third, and it was such an incredible process. However, I will actually shed some light on some of the things that were happening while I was going through my prep. I have everything mixed and I'm putting it into the oven for 15 minutes. And it's 333. That was so loud. It's 333. So that's easy to remember when 15 minutes is. That's so good. Oh, there's raw egg in that. It's really good. If I get sick, I get sick. YOLO. When I decided to compete, and once I started to compete, I found throughout the entire prep, and I did a long prep, I did 10 months, technically 11 months, counting that last month. So I did 11 months of prep towards this show, and I was very dedicated to the entire process. I trusted in my coach. I put full faith into him, giving me meals, etc. I did not challenge him on any of those because that was my way of fighting back the voices that would pop up into my head at random times, that were telling me what to do, that were very bossy and telling me what to do. These old things that used to pop up for me that were popping up again. I was able to be like, yeah, no, I'm not the professional here. He is, and I'm paying him, and he says this, so that's what we're doing. And it was very easy to get through those moments because of that. It was not so easy to get through the moments surrounding how I looked. So I would have it was all the way throughout, and it was in waves. I would go through a week and every day we were weighing ourselves. We were doing measurements every week, photos. Okay, so I would go through each week. I'd be like this same wave every single week where I'd be like, oh my gosh, I'm so proud of myself. Oh my gosh, look what I accomplished. Oh my gosh, this is so exciting. Oh my gosh, like so giddy, and like I'm actually doing this, and I am awesome. And then I would go into this hole of it's not good enough. It needs to be better. You need to continue. Like you can't celebrate yet. You're nowhere near where you need to be. Like I would have all of those things floodgate in right after that elation. And I was really lucky to have done the work on my mental health and my relationship with food and my body prior to doing this competition, because I noticed it so fast when it was happening. Like it would start happening, and within a couple of hours, I was like, whoa, 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 why are we here? And so I knew on days like that, that there were certain things that I needed to have in place that would allow me to release myself of that pressure and relieve myself of those really loud voices. And so one thing I learned when I was in therapy is called family systems. And so there's like child Tash, there's teen Tash, there's young adult Tash, there's me Tash. I'm more maternal, so I'm like mom right now. And when I would have those moments, I'm like, okay, we need mom right now. And so I would step up and just be curious and sit with those thoughts that were coming into my head and be like, why is this happening? And it just kept happening. And each week I was diligent with it. I'm like, no, we're going to do this every week because this is what we're meant to be learning right now. We're meant to be learning this and going through it. This is the next step, the next stage of healing. This is it. You did all of this work, great. You got to a certain stage, and now you are leveled up and you are in the harder version of the game, like you're in the harder level of the game. It's going to be harder for you to get through, but you chose it. You chose to go to that next level. So I kept reminding myself of that, and I was really lucky to have done that because I was able to get grounded again. But again, every single week that was happening. So it's like I would be elated, and then I'd be low, and then I'd be grounded, and then I'd be elated, and then I'd be low, and then I'd be grounded. And it was wild. It was the weirdest process I've ever gone through, because it was just consistently like that I finally just got used to it. I was like, okay, here we are, we're here. Here we are. And I wasn't setting myself up for failure because I was giving myself the chance to not have those things happen. I'd be like, let's just have today's weigh in and check in, be whatever it is. Whatever happens, happens. Like, it is what it is. I'm proud of where I'm at this exact moment. Whether I love the way my body looks or not, I'm so proud of how much work I've put in. And I stopped making it about my body, and I started making it about my output, about my work ethic, about my love for myself, about my character. I made it about things that the voices in my head could not touch, because there was so much evidence backing me, telling me that I was working hard. I was showing up. I was hitting every meal. I was doing every single thing that was laid out for me. And so, I could win the case. I was like, okay, this is what's 100% true for me right now. That was another thing that I brought in a lot, was what's 100% true. If it was brought to a court of law, it could be argued and won. It can't be things that are flim-flammy. Like, you can't bring in something that's like, well, I feel, no. That does not win in a court of law. Bring it back to the truth. We need truth here, not feeling. Truth. Ground yourself. What is 100% true? Is what you're saying 100% true? It's like, no. I can't say that's 100% true to anybody else except for me, which means that that's opinion, which means that it's not fact, which means that I need to find fact. Okay, what's fact? 150 grams of plain pumpkin. Ugh. Oh my god. But it's on my spoon. Don't judge me. It's just me and Joey in this household, and we make out, so I don't mind licking the spoon. Okay. 150 grams of cream cheese is kind of a lot, isn't it? Again, not a bad thing. I thought that was going to be a lot more than it was, and I was wrong. It's 124. Okay. Now, coming to peak week and show day, that was a wild ride of just emotions during peak week. I would say during peak week, I was less in my head about how I looked, even though I was taking pictures every single day for my coach, and we were like, I wasn't even taking pictures every day. I was taking pictures 4 times a day, every day. So I had to be more invested in what I looked like during that time frame. But I was having so much happen. Like, I had to fly to where I was competing. I had to get a bunch of stuff in order. I had to go to a registration thing. Like, I had so many distractions. I didn't really have time to hate myself. or really love myself, to be clear. Like, I just didn't have time to do either. I was just like, we are in the thick of it right now. What you need to do is keep your head down. I was so tired. I was so depleted. My food was so low that I'm like, I am just like, I was a lean bean, guys. I was not in a strategy mindset where I could have solved any kind of problems anyways. So it could have been a bit of a mixture of like, there was no brain capacity to even think that I'm not enough or I am enough. It was just, I am. I'm alive. I'm existing at this time, and that was what it was. On show day, I 100% got hit hourly with the wave. So I would go through this excitement, this just genuine, amplified excitement about the fact that I had put in 11 months of work to get to this moment, and I deserved to be there. To looking at myself and everybody around me and thinking, I don't measure up. Do I deserve to be here? Like, complete imposter syndrome. I'm not lean enough. I'm not this, that, and the other thing. Like, it was, and I look back at the photos and I'm like, I remember being there and thinking to myself, oh my God, I'm not lean enough. I was so lean. Like, there was no way that I wasn't lean enough. If anything, for me to have placed better, I just needed more muscle. Like, I would have needed to have had a larger season to grow. That's it. But I was definitely lean enough. And but I didn't believe that. I was like, no, I don't think I fit. Like, shoot. Thankfully, before I was going on stage, I looked at myself in the mirror. This was actually just this was a cool moment. I looked at myself in the mirror and I was like, I'm a wolf, I'm a lion, I'm a dragon, I'm all of these things. Whatever I want to think in this weird human brain of mine doesn't matter. I am so powerful. And I'm going to walk on that stage, and whether or not I do well, I'm going to survive. I am going to do this to the best of my ability. I'm going to get up onto that thing. I don't quit. I just said that to myself. I'm like, I don't quit. I will go through torture. I will not quit. I don't care. You can ostracize me. You can do whatever you want to me. I will not quit. The end. And that was enough for me to just get on stage and do my thing. And I was really nervous getting on stage. I had never done something like this before, and it was really nerve-wracking because I was also the last girl on. So the other girls were standing on stage waiting for me to do my routine. And it just feels like I was going too slow, and like everybody was probably waiting for me. It was so weird, but I was like, I can't go faster because I was told if I go too fast, then it's gonna look like I'm nervous. So I was like pacing myself basically throughout the entire thing. Anyways, once I was done, that was fine. I would say like the next day or so was completely okay because I had to travel back and stuff. But then on the Monday, I woke up with a bunch of unsettled energy. So I had competed on the Saturday night, and Sunday night we had flown back to Vancouver. And the Monday, I woke up just with so much unsettled energy. I had so much anxiety just flowing through me. And I knew I needed to get that energy moving because it was anxiety energy. I needed to get it moving or it would destroy me. Like, I knew. And so I went for a run. And now I've ran for 122 days straight, which is 4 months and 17 and a half weeks, by the way. And that is not a disorder. That is actually, running is my power. I feel very I feel very for me in my running outside, especially, and the being immersed in nature and being in line with my breath and being in tune with my body, it just feels incredible and it's so meditative for me. And so it's been beautiful. Like it's honestly a lifesaver at this point. Oh shoot. You know what? I think I took that out too soon. I should have poked it. All right, let's try that again. You can go back in. 333. Huh. Maybe my stuff's not as hot as hers. Okay, anyways, doesn't matter. Yeah, so I started to run to help to channel my anxious energy and my nervous energy and my self-image to keep that love for myself alive. But I will be honest, like for probably about 3 to 4 weeks post show, I had a really difficult time looking at myself in the mirror. There was moments where I'd look at myself and I would just like see how small, like I could see certain parts of my forearms, and it just looked gross to me. It was I was going through some weird times. I didn't feel at home in my body, and I had finally gotten to a place where I felt at home in my body. So it was like, oh damn, I don't want to be back here again. It was like I was mourning. I'm gonna call it mourning. The loss of what I had thought that I had had, when in reality I have something so much better now. So like I'm really thankful for it. But I was going through this period of time where I would either, not like something about myself because it was really small, or not like something about myself because I felt like I was too swollen, or not like something about myself because I didn't look as muscular as I had on stage. But when I was on stage day, I didn't look good enough anyways. So it was like, I can't win with you. That's what I kept saying to myself. I'm like, I can't win with you right now. When you're in an argument, it's like, I'm not, you know what? I can't win with you. I'm going to let you just like chill for a minute. And so I did things like running to channel my anxious energy, which really helped. I started stretching a lot more, which really helped. And just being with myself. Instead of hiding from myself, I chose to sit with myself, even though I didn't love what I was doing to myself. I chose to be with me because I'm worth it. And that sucked sometimes. Because sometimes I felt like I was just like a toddler, or, a teenager, and I was just being cruel. And it was exhausting, but I loved me anyways. I'm like, no, I choose you. I'm choosing me. I'm choosing this. I'm choosing to love myself through this. And I went back to the basics of what I had learned in my therapy journey, which is you don't have to go from hating yourself to loving yourself. That's a pendulum swing. That's a really big swing. It's taking yourself from, dislike to neutrality. It's just like I am. I love myself. I love myself. I do. I might not love the way that I look right now. That's okay. What do I love though? What do I love about my body? I love that my body allows me to participate in this thing called life. And that's true. That was very true. That was never not true. I would think things like what do I love? Okay, I love the fact that I can get up and go for a walk right now. I love that my body allows me to be an athlete. I love that my body is strong and can do hard things. I love that I'm able to run. I love that I'm able to do all of these things that there's certain people out there that just don't have that. And I will never disrespect my ability to be physically active or be able to carry myself. So I just went back to, instead of loving how my body looks, I love how my body works, how my body functions, and what my body allows for me. And then I went into neutrality with the looks thing. So it'd be like, okay, my at the time my hair is blonde, so I was like, my hair is blonde. It's like, I hate how, my butt looks today. Okay, no, sorry. No room for that. We got neutrality only, so let's remove hate from here and, let's find something neutral. It's like, okay, my hair is blonde. Great. My nose has freckles. Great. My eyes are hazel. Great. Okay. That's enough for today. I'm gonna move on. Boot scoot. Something that was really powerful for me and empowering to me was somebody actually said, poison is poison. Whether you put it in coffee or not, it's still poison. Meaning, like, the words you say to yourself are powerful. So if you say hateful things to yourself, that's poison. And whether you say it as a joke or not doesn't matter. It's still poison. Whether you put it in coffee, something you love, it's still poison. So whether you say a hateful thing in humor, it's still poison. So I actually worked really diligently to stop self-deprecating in front of people as well, and I still do it at times, but I'm so much more cognizant of it now, and I'm working so hard towards a better future for myself. Oh no. The reason that that's so important to me is because. Okay, are you ready? No, why are you not heating up? Why I'm so diligent about this is because I want to have kids and I want them to learn from me. I don't want to have to be forceful with them. I want them to be able to look at me and see me and just feel safe and know what to do and know that you can make mistakes, but you can come back from them, and know that you can love yourself and still have hard days, and that you can feel joy and pain at the same time. Like, I want to be real, and that means that I have to accept that these things are real for me. And so at the starting of the video, I said, like, I don't know if I think this might be like a lifelong learning for me. I don't know. That's because if I were to tell myself that this would just be over tomorrow, I would be lying to myself. I would be lying to myself. I'm going to go through so many evolutions in my life. I'm going to have so many versions of me that die, and I'll have to mourn, and then I have to rebirth myself all over again. I'm going to have my body change, especially when I have kids. Like, there's going to be moments in time where this issue arises again and again and again and again. And I want to be able to bravely and courageously walk into it and hold hands with it and listen to it and navigate it so that I can do that for my children. So, body dysmorphia is very real. We all go through it. Even if it's a small sample size that somebody goes through, most people can relate and can be empathetic. And so I just highly encourage you to speak about this. If you're going through it and you haven't yet, you deserve to be received and loved and supported. And as I said at the starting of the video, you might feel like you've tried everything, and for what you have in your world and who you have as your influence, you might have, but there is a world outside of you, and there are so many people who are incredibly willing to help and want to support and provide care to you. And so please reach out for support, and I will keep you guys posted about this pumpkin thing. Maybe I'll do an outro. Spread is good though. All right, I love you all, and I'll talk to you soon.